the Deep for the Week talk show. Are you ready to talk? Let's get deep for the week.
Hello, hello. Thank you for watching. I am your host, Kali, and this is the Deep for the Week show. Before we get started, as usual, I'm going to ask you to like, subscribe, and follow wherever you are. And if you have any comments, if you like to be involved in the show, please comment below. If you like to be on the show as well, you can comment below or inbox from wherever you're watching from. Again, my name is Kali, and today we're doing a show on childhood trauma and or toxic parents, because that's where childhood trauma comes from. And so I have a guest today. Would you like to introduce yourself? I don't know because before I say that, I met my guest on TikTok and she's very transparent, and that's what made me want to interview her. She has lots of followers as well, and she's also very informative. So she has a TikTok handle, but I don't know what she wants to be called on the show today. So I'm gonna let her introduce
You
herself.
call me Tiff. Everybody calls me Tiff. Tiff. I'm Tiff. A lot of people call me Sister Tiff because I call everybody sis.
Okay.
Growing up, an only child, I didn't have sisters. So when I develop like close bonds with people, they become my sisters, you know.
So you're the only child.
So yes, I was adopted and the only child, yes.
Okay. Interesting. So where are you from, if I may ask you that?
Well, I was born in Michigan, but I was raised in partially in Atlanta, and the from 15 on up to about 34, I was in the Philadelphia area. And now I'm back down south in the Georgia.
Oh, okay. I'm from LA originally, like Pasadena area, but I now live in Detroit, metro area. So I've been here for 9 years. I love it here. So it's my
Yeah,
new
I
home.
was born in Michigan in Washtenaw County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I love the whole Michigan is beautiful. Like people don't know, but it's pretty up here.
Yes, it is. It is.
Outside of what happens, I like, and the people are cool too.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I've been I was raised personally, I had a really toxic mother, and I use all my platforms now to talk about that because I do feel like it's important, and I think that people overlook it, and they overlook it as why they're going through a lot of things in life. And I still don't have a great relationship with my mother now. I haven't talked to her in over 9 years. That's how toxic it was and still is. And so a lot of people I found myself, letting a lot of people confide in me over, and I'm like, wait, and I liked, talking to people about it, and it became therapeutic for me and for them. So I'm like, maybe I'll just turn this into something for myself. And so I started taking the classes for trauma and stuff like that recently. And so I've been getting into doing more of this, online and talking to other people and just bringing it out more so people can also that are not as comfortable talking about it, they can know they're not the only ones that went through it. You don't have to be embarrassed because of what somebody else did to you, and so that's why I love people like yourself, because you show a lot of transparency, which some people are not comfortable with. And I think it's important because, like, my sister has full blown lupus. And as I've read these books about what childhood trauma does to you health wise and physically, I'm like, all this, like, it's a lot of stuff makes sense now. So I think if you
I have
reveal what you
lupus. I have lupus as well now.
see in the
Yes.
book I read, it talks about that a lot. Do you have any other physical um
Like
health problems?
fibromyalgia. I have fibromyalgia. Um, and uh, like a lot of digestive issues. And it's just a manifestation. I learned too from classes and taking indigenous, like from my indigenous tribe, that a lot of it manifests from childhood trauma. It's not just you got sick. It was a manifestation inside of you. Um, and it's rough. It's pretty rough, especially because I'm a single mom and I'm raising three, children with disabilities. I have 5 children. I've had to be the not toxic mom and say, I'm gonna hold on to all of my kids because I want them here. And I had to be like, you know what, this is selfish for us to all be going through it when they have a dad and a stepmom that can give them the life that they deserve. That was a really hard, that was really hard. But my mother would have never done that. My mom would have been like, no, I want to keep the kids, I want the child support. That that's something that I had to break for myself because I didn't want my kids to go through what I did.
Yeah, and it
Um,
does take a tribe. I mean, we've lost touch with that, but I think that's also part of our parents' trauma because that's when the tribe started to kind of go away or trickle
yeah,
down a little bit, you know, and or the man, that part of the tribe anyway. Because, grandma was still around a little bit then, but the man started to be, you know,
yeah,
estranged around our era. And so that was
yeah.
a major part of the tribe.
Yeah,
And so
and I
you
mean
don't have to feel bad about that.
they have an amazing dad. There was no reason for me to be like, no, they can't stay with him. Like he, gainfully employed. His wife is a vice president at a bank. Like, why should I have my kids here suffering? And I'm trying to balance and they can have a good childhood Monday through Friday, and then you can come and visit mom on the weekends. And I mean, it hurts, but it's like I didn't want to use them as a crutch,
Yeah,
like my mother did for me. Instead of saying, hey, the best thing for me to do is to give her to her father, who's more mentally stable and physically stable and financially stable, you know, she kept hold of me and I still don't know why because she didn't want me there at the same time.
that's
So,
the I
yeah,
experienced that. And it's crazy that as a child you are not wanted, you know,
yeah,
and it makes you crave as a preteen, you get the label as fast because you start running after love early because you didn't feel it young. And so I talk
right.
about that a lot. And I mean, there's women still doing it and they don't know why. Like, why do you keep jumping from relationship to relationship? And it has a lot to do with childhood trauma, but it does cause, especially with women, a lot of illnesses amongst us that we are not familiar. Like, we don't understand that they come from the nervous system being on fight or flight all the time, you know?
All this.
Yeah. So I have like a whole reality show that I'm filming and talking about my like kind of like documenting like some of the stuff I went through and the trauma, how it continued into my preteen and as an adult. And I just, I like to talk to other people as well, like I said, and about their trauma and how what are some of the things that you do to heal or that is helping you heal from it?
W- Well, you know, you don't even realize that there is really a problem until you get older and you kind of move away from that person. Like you kind of distance yourself and you look at other people and you go, wait a minute, my life was not normal. Like, you didn't get beat? And people will be like, no, you didn't. Wait, y- you got to do like you went on vacation every summer. Like I started asking like my friends and like people that I would meet, like their motherly experience was totally different from mine. And I'm like, hey, there's a problem here. There's a reason why like I'm like out here like looking for like all this love from and acceptance from everybody. And that's when I put myself into therapy. And I think what really helped me the most was EDMR, the rapid eye movement, and the tapping therapy to kind of like refile all of that trauma in a different way. Because it really like would come out and I would feel myself like I would cry if I yelled at my kids because I didn't want to be her. I didn't want
And
I
that
can't
part of
be
it.
her. You know
That
what I
part
mean?
of
I
it,
can't be her. Yeah, like
they don't
it
understand
was
that part of it.
it was really like it was really affecting me, and I went to therapy and I started going to support groups and I started physically talking about it, and I learned to make it a part of my integrity, like who I've become, because my mother was not a giving woman. She was not a loving woman. She was a gatekeeper. Like if she knew information, she was gonna hold on to it and only give it to who she wanted to. And there was always everything was transactional, and to this day, everything is transactional with her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
and I wanted to do my best to not be her, and so I knew I needed help.
yeah,
How can
yeah.
I not be her?
It's just the help is just like literally helping you unlearn everything that you thought was normal. You know,
I
that's
mean,
really
I thought
what
it was normal to smack your kids across the face. Like I thought it was normal to deprive them of food. I thought it was normal to not buy them clothes or to punish them um for stuff that like really stuff kids would just do. You know, like I was constantly punished, and I really thought that that was happening in everybody's house. And finding out that it didn't, you know, meeting new people and talking about it, people are like, you got grounded, you know, every Halloween, so she wouldn't have to buy you a costume. Like, I thought that that was normal. I did. I had my entire childhood. I had two birthday cakes. Like it wasn't normal for her to celebrate my birthday. You, so I'm thinking, I guess a lot of kids, I guess that's just stuff that you see on TV. That's not real. Like, I'm finding out that a lot of people didn't have this childhood. And I recently made a post on TikTok about feeling unwanted and hurt by their mother. And I'm thinking, you know, I might get like 300 views, 400 views. That thing has almost 200,000 views, and it has thousands and thousands of comments of women that were mistreated by their mother. And then they're wondering why, like, you know, there's so many of us out here hurting. Like,
and
why we
sick.
find these, yeah, why we're hurting, why we're getting sick, why we're single, or why we keep going into these toxic relationships. It's because we didn't have an example in our life of what it was like to be a woman and a mother. You know, and then
Yes.
you get the ones that say, well, my mother apologized on her deathbed. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what did that really do? Because she only did that for her. She didn't do that for you. She wants to
Okay.
get right with God, you know, before she went to the pearly gates, but she had no
Robbed
opportunity to
you of
change.
your whole life of a mother. You've been grieving
Yeah,
her your whole life. You know what
yeah,
I
like
mean? Like we grieve our mothers our whole life. So that part of it is that's gonna be odd for me when that part come around because I'm gonna be like, and and people gonna be looking like me
yeah,
like
do
really.
you? And then one lady was like, "Well, I had to forgive her," and I told her, "You really don't, because forgiveness is for you. It's not for her. She's gone. She should have tried to straighten that out years ago."
They
But
know.
you know, and it's really hard. It was really hard for me to go no contact with my mom, because what my mom would do is she has a pattern around the holidays or any time that it was time to a child's birthday. She would pick a fight so she wouldn't have to buy a birthday present or Christmas presents. But then she'd tell the whole family, "Oh, I'm broke. I had to buy all her kids all those birthday and Christmas presents." You know, she's got a whole bunch of kids, and it never happened. Um, And the now she's going through dementia, and she's not right. And even when I went to her, like, hey, I want to help you because you're driving without insurance, you're crashing the car, you're sending money to guys in Africa that are telling you they're Tyler Perry. And she called my kids the R word. So it's just like, no matter what I do, you are never going to look at me as your daughter and respect me. But your brothers and sisters think that I'm like the best thing since sliced bread. Like they nobody can understand. Like, I wish my child was like her. Like, I wish my kid would get it together. And then here you go with this daughter that's like doing all these big things, for the community, sitting on the board, of a nonprofit, and you can't stand her. Why is that? Well, first of all, she really didn't want me. She only adopted me because her mother said, you can't be married, you can't keep your husband if you don't have a kid. You got to have a kid. So if you can't have one, you need to adopt one. You need to find one. And then my dad confirmed the story. They didn't want children when they got married, and he thought that's why he was marrying this woman, is because he didn't want kids either. So I had two parents that didn't want children, And it was cute when it was new. But then he left her for a man, and every time she looked at me, I guess I was a reminder, of that part of her life. And that was her trauma. She should have got help for that. I told her I was just a kid. That was not my responsibility. You should have went and processed that. You're a veteran. You could have got that for free. That help was free for you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it back in their time, because I'm an 80s baby, so I think it was they did not know how they had no emotional immunity, maybe because their great grandmas and grandmas were slaves and they had to shut down and they couldn't show emotion, and they really trickled and spilled their trauma onto us like it was a normal thing, like that's what we.
And see, and that is the funniest part about it. I interviewed, like, she's got 8 brothers and sisters, and I literally interviewed, I grilled everybody, like, what is her problem? Did you guys get beat? Were you guys starved? Were you? And they were like, no, she's the only one that was like that. She was the only, and she was always like that. So out
And
of
it's
all 9 of them, she's the only one. She's the only one. I'm the only child in the family that gets treated this way. Everybody else has been able to go move back home. You got a divorce. You can go move back home. Yeah, like
this is
my
I'm sitting here. I can't. I'm shaking my head so much because it's like it sounds like me talking.
Yeah, it's like, Ma, I need $50 for the light bill, or I'm going to get evicted. Can you help me? Sure, sure, sure. My kids need. Can you keep the kids for the summer? Sure, sure, sure. That has never been my life. That has never been my life.
Yeah,
I've
and that makes it hard.
never felt like she's really been a mom to me. When my dad passed away, she says to me, give his family time to mourn. And I'm like, I'm his daughter. She's like, well, not his blood family. I'm like, Mom, I came into you guys' house when I was 10 days old. I don't know any other dad. What do you mean blood family?
What?
She's like, I haven't even really had time to process it. Mommy, you divorced him 30 years ago. Like 40 years ago. Like, what do you need to process? He hasn't been your husband in years. But she never remarried. She never remarried. And I don't know if it's because she's insufferable. She's insufferable. She hides behind, the Bible and God, and she'll go to church every Sunday, and you don't pray enough, you don't read your Bible. this, that, and the third. And it's like, but what has it done for you? Because you're an awful person. You know, what have you been reading in your Bible that makes you this way?
Man, but they be the ones. They the main ones. It's like they, and that's the thing, because they're so, they can keep it together in front of the public. You know, it makes it seem like, well, that, we get belittled. Our trauma gets belittled. Well, that's your mom. No, wait. And then,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
become the villain when you try what they think you're exposing them, but you're just trying to explain why it's so hard for you to deal with this person to
yeah.
this day.
Well,
You know,
I can tell you this. I can tell you this. Her family finally came to terms with, she made me the villain all those years, and they found out that it was her. And they literally had a, like, I always say, like a come to Jesus meeting, like, oh my gosh, all these years she had us thinking this girl was a doggone monster, and it turns out she was the monster. And my aunt was like,
literally.
I told your uncle that you were done with her, and he said, good. I'm glad, I'm happy for her. And it's
You
like your
know,
brothers and sisters are now seeing you for who you are. So now she really can't hide.
good. Cause I mean, maybe she'll start apologizing or saying something, because you can't hide no more.
She has apologized. She's looked to me in the face and told me she was good to me a lot of times, and I've had to be like, what is the definition of good to you? You know, because some of the things that she did, like, it's something that you see on a Lifetime movie. Like, I can
Oh my
remember telling
God.
my ex-husband stuff and him being like, are you telling the truth or are you making that up? Because that's horrendous.
Yes.
There's
That's
things that you
that's
don't
how
do
it
to
was
your
when I was
kids.
telling stories to my ex. He was like, okay, now I see why we having problems in our relationship, because I didn't know that you went through all that. Like, yeah. you know,
It affects
it, you know, it's
it affects
unreal.
you, and
Like,
it affects all the, even your friendships with your friends. It affects you in that way. It's hard to be a friend when you don't even love yourself. You don't know how to love yourself. You don't know, you want to be a good friend and you love these people, but how can you be when you don't even know how to be a friend to yourself because no one's ever taught you?
everything feels awkward, even like
Yeah.
when you want that friendship so bad, but or in that relationship, whatever you have, but it feels awkward because it's so unfamiliar. Like, hugs still feel kind of awkward to
Yeah.
me unless I
Yeah.
really know a person. Like, I really know it's genuine. I know they love me. I don't like hugging, like, and I barely hug them back still, and it's just because I got so many, I didn't get that many from my parent growing up. I try to hug my kids as much as possible, but like strangers and
But
other adults.
my kids are different, like, because I want to be different. But even like building new friendships, I don't trust. It's very hard for me to trust, and especially women. It's very hard for me to trust women because I'm always afraid that, like, if I open up, they're gonna be like her and throw it right back in my face. You know, because
Well,
she's a
and
good woman.
two, for me, I experience a lot of jealousy with women. So here I am dealing with all her bullshit at home, and then when I go to school, I'm getting bullied because my hair is
Yeah,
long. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, I'm the
yeah.
beautiful girl with long pretty hair, so they
I
need the fuck
totally,
out of me.
I
And so
totally, I totally understand that.
yeah,
I
and so
totally
I have no
understand
safe
that. I
place.
remember moving to Atlanta and them being like, "You think you're better because you're light skinned." I didn't even really know what light skin meant. Like, I was born in Michigan. I lived in California, and then I moved to the South. I didn't know what colorism was. I didn't realize that I was considered better than somebody because I was light skinned with long hair. You know what I mean? Like, and she never taught me those things. And then when I went to her, like, hey, like, I'm getting bullied, it wasn't a problem for her. She never defended me. She never went up there
But
like, leave her alone.
Yes, and that's how you know that in any situation with my parents, she never took the opportunity to defend me when she even when she knows she should have. And so as I become an adult and I see how I am with my kids, like my young I have so I'm 43. I started at 15, so I got an older batch of kids and a younger batch of kids. I have kids that are grown, but with the kids that are grown, they could not come home from school until I homeschool the younger ones now, but the older ones could not come home from school and tell me anybody fucked with them because I was running up to that school. I didn't give a fuck how old they was. And my parent was
Right.
almost validated to see that other people didn't like me. Like, oh, good. And so also when I experienced that with men, she didn't ever defend me. Like, my sister, I have a sister, she couldn't go through nothing. She would be calling my brother, who was a gangster and well known from where we from. And she go over there and do this, go over. But when it came to me, she'd stay out of that. And it'd be like, what? And so, they do a lot of things to
It's
validate that they don't like
but
you.
it's that it's like from your end, it sounds like a lot of jealousy. Like, why are you jealous of your own child? You made her. You created her.
And I still overcame all that shit. Like she tried so hard to lack helping me. Like she even bought me a car. Like I was a 15-year-old mom, but I still graduated from school early and I had a job and I saved thousands to buy my own car. And she was like, I'll just get you a car in my name and you use those thousands for a down payment. So I let this lady do this because she had A1 credit. And why is this now my car's in her name and I'm paying the car note? I might be late 1 or 2 days every now and then because I'm a 15-year-old and I'm a mom paying the car note and insurance with no help from the daddy. This lady would take my car all the time. If I could be 1 hour late on the car note,
Yeah.
she would come repo my car. And two
Control.
payments away from paying my car off, she filed bankruptcy. The new bankruptcy, they come and take your assets. You don't get to keep them no more. I was 2 car notes payments away from being done with paying off the car. It's in her name still. She filed,
It's
so
almost
it's
like
like,
she plotted it. She plotted it that way. Like it was meant to go that
I
way.
know she plotted it because my auntie also had a car in her name. This is how great credit she had. My auntie had a car in her name as well with payments. She let my auntie pay her last payment because she know my auntie would have come over and beat her ass. You know what I'm saying? So she let my auntie pay the last payment. It did me that way. I come out of my college class, my car is gone. I'm like, what the fuck? She didn't even tell me she did this. I
So
found
she
out like,
got a rise from pulling the rug from under you. It's like she got a rise out of it. Like it was like her livelihood, like her form of entertainment. Like it's sick. It's sick. It's twisted.
and people don't believe that this shit happens. Like it's like they don't
No,
believe it. Like.
I believe it. I totally believe it. Only because you have to have a toxic mother to understand. And I like I said, I made that post and I did not realize. I sincerely did not realize that there's still people that haven't seen that post. So this post was posted last week and it's still going like it's fresh. Like people coming out of the woodworks like my mom did this, my mom did that. My mom almost let me die on the couch when I was 6 years old. The only reason why she took me to the hospital is because whoever was on the phone was like, if that kid dies, you're going to jail, right? Because they're gonna be like, you should have known better. And she's like,
Just
"Oh
crazy.
no, we gotta go to we gotta go to the doctor's office." And even when she took me to the doctor's office, they're like, "Why didn't you take her to the emergency room? This is an emergency. This kid is
I've
really sick."
experienced something like that. But now that I'm older and I'm reading this book it's called I'll send it to you. I'm having a brain fire. It's called Childhood Disrupted. It's a great book because it makes you take an ACR test as well. I think that's what it's called, and it can tell you how bad your trauma is with that test score that you get. But I was reading that book and it's enlightening me with so much stuff. Like so many people are experiencing this that and it's crazy. And so
It
I
should,
think
but it shouldn't. And that's the thing. Like Gen X, like how are we even like I'm looking at them, and it's mostly Gen X women that have these like toxic mothers. Like how are we still standing? I have no idea. Maybe that little bit of strength that they had because their mother was like, "Don't let them see you cry," type. That maybe that's what kept us going. Or the fact
Between
that
them
we
and
had
the
our
man,
own
though, I
kids.
don't know how. No.
Uh,
I don't know how we're doing it. But I come to a realization because when I was 12, I had got, and I really didn't get in trouble. It was a situation. I had really bad allergies. Okay. And so I had a teacher. She was a hoarder, in everywhere. She was one of those hoarders where her car would be full to only where you can see is the driver's seat. Everything is full to, so her
wow.
house, her classroom, everything was like that. And so I had really bad allergies, and she opened the window during spring, and it's just dusty because it's windy time in California in the spring. And I'm sneezing, and she thinks I'm doing it to be funny because we're in the 6th or 7th grade at this time, and at that time everything's funny to those kids. So I'm sneezing now. I'm trying to hold my sneezing because she's like, if you keep sneezing, you're gonna get a referral. So now I'm like, trying to hold it in, and the kids are laughing now. They busting up. So she's like, go to the office. So I get a referral for sneezing, right? So now my mom, and I'm trying to explain this to her, like I didn't do nothing. I was just literally, I was sneezing, and she got mad because I couldn't stop. It was one of those sneeze attacks, where you just keep going. She didn't care. So for a whole semester, 3 months, a semester is almost 3 months. She woke me up every morning to whooping me. Like I woke up being beat every morning. So by the first month of that, after the first month of that, I'm not sleeping no more because I'm anticipating the way I'm about to wake up. So I might sleep for 2 hours and I'm up by like 1 o'clock, waiting to be woken up every morning by a beating. And so now I'm 12, and one day I have a seizure, and she doesn't do nothing. Like if one of my kids had a seizure in front of me, I'm calling 911, especially for the first time. She's like, get up. What's wrong with you? What is what? So I'm jumping up because it's my first time
Yeah.
going through this shit too. I jump up. I'm still, my eyes, you can see, but you can't. You just know your house by heart type of
Yeah.
shit. So she's like, get in the shower. We got to go. So I get my towel and I get ready to sit my towel on the toilet, which I usually do. At that time, I'm OCD. Now I would never. But I sit on top of the toilet because I'm thinking the toilet is shut. But it was open because I really can't see. So the toilet goes in, the towel goes in the toilet, and she's really tripping now. And I'm thinking back to all this, and I'm reading this research on this book. And I have the type of seizures that are caused by stress, but they were induced from those moments of her not letting me sleep and me waking up for that whole semester being. And so I'm like, people need to understand why they're going through what because you can be healed, you know what I'm saying? But you have to know what the problem is and why the problem is, And so, but with that condition, there's no medication for it. So I just have to not be stressed. So, but I'm doing that for so many reasons, like, because I'm still having realizations and awakenings every day, like, wait a minute, And I think some people will never have these realizations if they don't at least talk about it and can relate to others that are already doing the work. You know what I mean?
A lot of times, for a lot of people, it's scary because you're even scared of your mother in your 40s. Like in theory, like if you're not no contact, and then there's a lot of people that are scared to cut their mother off because it's been drilled into their head. The Bible says, you got to honor your father and your mother. Well, I learned that you can honor your father and mother from a distance. You can honor them by staying out of their way and them staying out of yours because
That's the
you're
best
not
way I'm gonna
honoring
be able to
their.
honor mine. If
That's
we're in
that's
close proximity, I can't honor her. So it's probably best to be a distance.
that's the only way that I can honor my mom is not have contact with her. And I'm pretty sure in like a month or two she'll call and she'll act like nothing happened at all. And it's like I'm tired of this cycle. I'm tired of you hurting me. I'm tired. I'm tired. I considered going to go get custody. Power of attorney, and I was like, do I really want to deal with that? No, I don't, because I have my own stuff to deal with my own kids. And just she can just go into a nursing home in the state nursing home. That's what you wanted. And people were like, oh my God, like that's awful. Well, you didn't live my life. You didn't live my life.
And you know
You
what?
didn't you didn't have to rip up t-shirts to use for maxi pads. when your
when
mother was
people tell
putting all
me,
the offering in the church plate, you know? Like,
because she's a narcissist, because she want people to think she's a good person, and you got me over here leaking. What the heck? That part,
yeah,
that type of shit.
yeah.
They are horrible narcissists, and that's the issue too. I realize there are all the people that I'm talking to that have moms like this. They are definitely narcissists, and that's a mental. I mean, it goes farther than just being a like that is a diagnosis as well. And people don't know about
I
that.
think that I also think that my mother's on the spectrum and her family also suspects it. And back then, if you were on the spectrum, you had to be evidently on the spectrum, like nonverbal, not potty trained. But my mother is definitely when she was visiting me one day, she was standing in the hallway, turning the light off and on, off and on, off and on at 3 o'clock in the morning. And my 8-year-old the next morning gets up and goes, "Is Nana autistic too?" Because he saw it. He saw it.
I
And he knows
believe
his
that.
younger brother did that. And he
I
said,
believe my
"Oh,
mom is
Nana's
too.
autistic too." She had always had to have things a certain way. You cannot do things a certain way. Like you never brush your teeth anywhere but the bathroom
Mm.
with cold water.
And very militant about everything being their way. I think
Yeah.
my mom is
You
too,
make your bed
because
this way. And if
yes,
those corners aren't tight, you're getting backhanded.
yes,
That's the type of life that I lived as a child. My
yes,
house was a
yes.
museum.
And now, and I understand being clean because I'm very clean. I'm in the cleaning business, and then, but I still let my kids make a mess. You just got to clean it up. Like I
Yeah,
wasn't allowed to play or make a mess. Like it was none of that.
yeah, me
And we
too.
had chores like slaves. And I believe my mom was on the spectrum too, because by the time I was like in the third grade, I was very smart. I was in gate programs. I was doing all kind of. And my dad, now that I because my dad left when I was like 4, so but I've met some of his other kids by other women recently through Facebook and whatnot. And one of his oldest kids told me that my dad tested as a genius because he was in the military, and they test him for all that stuff. And so I'm like, okay, that's where I get the smartness from, because it's definitely not her, because she would misspell stuff. Like if I had to write a note to school and stuff, they would think like, "Did you write this?" And I'd be like, "No," and they'd be like, "Because there's misspelling, and my penmanship was better than hers." So I just started writing my own notes and stuff, because they would question me when she wrote my shit, because she was not able to spell correctly, and or even help me with my homework after 4th grade, like for
My
real.
mom did. My mom told me I never got help with my homework, so you're not getting help with yours. Good luck. And I'd be like, long division is hard. Multiplication tables are hard. Like it was hard for me, because I'm ADHD, and instead of her, getting me tested and being like, there's something wrong with this hyper child, I was diagnosed with ADHD at age 34. And I'm like, so all these years, he's like, all these years you had that and you coped with that and you didn't have any medicine. And I'm like, nothing. I got beat. I got beat. That was my medicine. If I did something wrong, if I spoke out of turn, if I talked too much, if I was all over the place, I just got spanked.
For
That's how she
everything.
controlled it.
For everything. I tell people some of the spanking stories, and they be like, "What?" Like my first real spanking that made me not like my mom, I was only 5 years old, and after that, I never liked her again. And and it was like, it's hard to explain that to people. People be like, "What?" And I'm like, I never liked her again. And it wasn't my first whooping, but it was the whooping that made me say, I don't like her no more. And like,
I think we all
Mother's Day
had one
will
of those
come.
because I was 10. I was 10. I told my mom about sexual abuse that happened to me, and she said you must have liked it because she didn't tell me.
I never
And
told my mom because I
I
knew
can
I was gonna get
remember
a
looking
whooping.
at her going, I can remember looking at her going, I don't like you at all. Like thinking in my head, like I don't like her as a person at all. And even when my dad died last year, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, Why'd you take him instead of her? Like, and that's a horrible thing to think, but it's just like he apologized and he made changes. Like he was sincere about his changes. She will never. She will never, and I don't count on it ever. And now that she has dementia, I know she's really not gonna change because she's gonna forget all the stuff that
Well,
happened.
shit, my mom act like she got dementia already. Because if you bring up any of this, she's telling you a motherfucking lie. I didn't do none of that. I don't know why you talking. So it's like she already got dementia now. If you ask, you know what I'm saying? Because she not gonna admit to the shit now. So it's like I'll be thinking like, is she serious? Like you just not gonna admit to none of this shit? Like not
Was
one of these
she
stories?
was she better? Is she better to your children than she was to you?
She really wasn't a grandparent like that. When they were little, she was like, ain't nobody tell you how them kids, because she was a very good looking woman and she still is for her age. And so like men were always all over her. She always had somewhere to go and people to see. So babysitting wasn't her thing. So now that they're older, my oldest talks to her, but that is out of spite. I think because I don't have a good relationship with my older daughter. So they get along because they have a trauma bond. You know what I mean? Because they're the
Yeah.
two that don't like me type of shit. You know what I mean? But there should be no reason why they really have a bond because
It's
she
like
wasn't.
triangulation. It's like triangulation type
Yeah,
thing.
and they
I
don't even
don't.
know I don't give a fuck. Like, because if I did, I'd be talking to them and they'd be talking to like the reason why we don't talk is because I cut them off. Like they miss me. They talk to people like, oh, we still love, and I'd be like, that's bullshit. I'm good. And so it's like you guys can stop the whole party and because I'm not even watching. you know but um yeah, it's sad to see that it is more females going through this than males. But there are some males like that go through it. My brother, I have a brother, he's the oldest, and she had him at 17. And him being a man, he don't really talk about it like in an emotional way, but he talks about it from time to time to where I listen. I'm a great listener. And so like his trauma was, she didn't let him play football because he didn't have a 3.5. That was her requirement because at school you only had to have a 2 point something to play. So if you didn't have a 3.5, you couldn't play. And so he became gangbanger and started selling, you know. And so, but prior to that, he was telling stories of like being 6 years old and him going with her boyfriends, when they start making doggy doors back in the day. um that's how they was breaking into houses a lot. So they would send him through the doggy door so he can unlock the door and they can just come in and burglarize the house. And he tells these stories and she's like, you a motherfucking lie. I never let you do nothing like that. I don't even want you just made it. And I'm like, nobody makes stuff like this
It's
stuff.
like who would sit there and have the time to make that up? Like that's not even a story that you can sit and think of. If you really think
You
about
know
it
what I'm saying?
really hard. Like
Like,
I would have that's not something that I ever thought to like even think of. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
but it
That's
makes
why
a
you
lot
know
of
he's telling
sense.
the
It
And
makes
then
a
he
lot
has
of
stories
sense.
like, he's like, I got stories like, I was smoking weed at 6 years old too. And she was like, you a motherfucking lie. He like, you don't remember you used to tell me it's either you smoke weed or you go outside because you can't go outside high. And he'd be like, okay, today I want to smoke weed, so I'm gonna stay inside. And they smoke a joint together. That's what I'm saying. Lifetime movie shit. People don't believe this stuff went on, but
Well, I have biological siblings, and they told me that they were given that to go to sleep. Like their mom's boyfriend would give them that to make them tired to go to sleep, so they would sleep all the time. And I'm just like, who doesn't think to like, and even teaching them how to inhale and stuff. It's like I know that they didn't make that up because they weren't all in the same room telling me the story, but all three of them told me at separate times. And one ran off with the mom's boyfriend type stuff. It's just like, how are we still standing? How are we still functional human beings? I don't know. It's just a will, but I also think about a lot of girls didn't make it. A lot of girls didn't make it. A lot of my
It's
girlfriends
killing
turned to
them.
the street. You know, they
Yep.
turned to drugs, they turned to alcohol, they turned to prostitution. Um, they when we were dancers, they never got out of it. They ended up getting, hurt in domestic violence. Like a lot of us didn't survive. The
Yep.
people that
And
talk
I
about it
interview.
are the ones that are usually still standing. The ones that they use it as part of their integrity. Like, look, this happened to me, and it's it's not okay that it happened, but it's okay to talk about it because if you don't talk about it, you're gonna go crazy. You're gonna go crazy,
Some people
and you
deal,
don't
like
hurt.
some people are, some people try to, oh, you could just give it to God, and that's how that worked for
No.
you. That worked for you. But some people need to talk about it. Some people need to hear other people talk about it. Some people need to know, you know what I mean? And I think that I think more than not, some people need to hear other people talk about it, and they need to talk about it, And so I'm just trying to side
I
like with
didn't. I didn't heal
go.
until I stopped giving it to God. And I'm be honest. I didn't heal until I started talking about it, until I started saying it out loud.
So
The
therapeutic.
first video I made was about how like I was only allowed to shower once a week and how
Mm.
I have, mixed race hair, so I can't go 2 weeks without washing my hair. But she made me, you know, I'd get my cycle and she'd be like, "Oh, here's an old t-shirt, cut it up." You know, until I started talking about the things that was done to me as a kid. She'd say, "You're fat." And then I'd say, "I'm full." And she'd put 8 more scoops of grits on my plate. That type of stuff. It was getting
Torture,
so,
like
yeah,
torture, like Lifetime, like you're saying, and
yeah,
people don't believe. Like, where do you think they get the fucking movies from? It happened to somebody, and people don't believe that shit. And you probably got whooped if you didn't eat it all. And you're like, I'm
yeah.
fucking
Like,
cool.
clear your plate. And I hated grits. I hated grits. You know what I mean? Like, I hated liver. Eat it
That
all.
was torture. And my mom knew I hated beans and rice, and she would make a big pot every week. And I was the last kid in the house, so that pot lasts all week because it was just me and her. Shit like that. Like, girl, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
yeah,
And so I was real skinny growing up because I wasn't eating. Like I don't like
yeah.
beans and rice, and all she's cooking, and she's going out
I
to eat
went
with
to
me
my
every night.
dad when I was 10. I went to my dad, and my dad was like, "I'm not sending her back." He was like, "This girl is overweight. Her clothes are raggedy. She's got holes in her shoes. I'm not sending her back." I spent the whole summer with him. I think I was probably about 5'5" and almost 200 pounds. I got down to 130 pounds when I got off that airplane with my mom. I lost every single pound. And he didn't starve me. He let me ride my bike. He fed me healthy meals. The weight melted off. He took me shopping, bought me nice clothes. I was I looked like a 11-year-old girl. She didn't like that. She
Oh, they
went
don't like
right
nobody
back
to
to
love you.
And then she was like, "Oh, never mind. I want her to come home because that $800 child support check was going to stop." And $800 was a lot in the 90s. That was bread. That was buku. You know,
Yeah,
that's what she was worried about. Not my well-being. My grandma was
it's
like, "You should have left that child up there." And then I think
it's so
about the person that I could have been had I not been raised by her. When you think about that, that really hurts too.
Yes, because I was so talented. And I was a singer, and like everything I've touched, not to be like, but I was a perfectionist because I was looking to be seen and loved and acknowledged. So maybe if I do good outside of everything and my, in academics and sports and in art, whatever I'm doing, maybe somebody will notice me and love me and maybe take me from her. And so that was my thing. I did good. But she held me back purposely, and
Mine
I
was
didn't realize
swimming,
that.
and
Huh?
she worked. Mine was swimming, and she worked for Turner Broadcasting. And Ted Turner himself wanted to sponsor me to train for
Mm.
the Olympics, and she said no. When I was about 6 or 7, I was in a fashion show for Macy's, and they were like, "Hey, we want her to be a model." No, she's gonna be a spoiled brat if she's a model. Everything was no. When I was singing, oh, can she audition for this, audition for that? No. It's like she didn't want anything from me. She wanted to be this, I guess, homely church girl that wore skirts to her ankles, and just live with her the rest of her life. Like when I got pregnant with my 16-year-old, his dad was tripping, and she's like, "Oh, come live with me." And I thought to myself, I'd rather live in a homeless shelter. I'd rather live in a homeless shelter than have her helping me raise my kid. Like that's how scared I was. Like I'll never be that desperate.
And I
I'll
have
never
lived
be that.
in them. When I left her house, I never went back. After I left her house at 16, like I left at 12 because she kicked me out, but she took me back because she didn't want to go to jail and CPS was getting involved, blah blah blah. But after I had my kids at 15, my first two and whatever, I left at 18 and never came back to her house ever. I did stay in shelters. I stayed on Skid Row. I don't know if you're familiar with Skid Row. I just couldn't deal with her. I never felt a connection with her. So like going back and telling her I need her wasn't even a thing. You know what I'm saying? But it's so crazy that we have so much similar trauma. I just now I look back. There's a teacher I'm actually looking for. Her name is Mrs. Cool because I had her for like 3 years from first to like third grade. And I remember her now, and I just want to just hug her because she used to be so loving towards me.
You need to
And
find her because I found my fifth grade teacher, and that was part of my healing journey because she saw the bruises, she reported it, she defended me.
that's how
And
Miss
I said
Cool
this
was.
L word. My mom actually chilled out for like a long while, at least the rest of that school year. She made sure that she moved so I wasn't in that district anymore after that. But she saved me from a lot of beating, and I reached out to her like, if it wasn't for you, like, I don't even know if I would have been alive through the fifth grade because I was just getting repeatedly beat upside the head and everything. Like, it was a big part of and even my high school teacher with my dad, like I reached out to her and I was like, thank you for being there for me because I there were days where I was like, I'm gonna find a bridge and I'm gonna go jump off of it. Like that was how bad it was at one point in my life. And that's why I try so extra hard to be an understanding mom. Even with I'm so grateful I have good teenagers and I haven't had any major problems with my teenagers, but they can come to me and they know, like, if something is not right or a friend did something that they can tell me and I'm not gonna snap if somebody turned up pregnant or somebody used drugs or they know that my mom would fly off the handle. My cousin got pregnant when we went to the skating ring when we were 13 and she starts beating on me and I'm like, I was in the skating ring. I wasn't even out of the skating ring. She was gone 5 minutes. I didn't know that you can even do that in 5 minutes.
Right?
Like she was gone 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes. She said, I'll be back. And she came back in like 5 minutes. I didn't know what they were doing out there. No clue. My mom's just
yeah, they had, I asked at 11 years old, one day I just couldn't take anymore, about 11 or 12, when my mom was just being very toxic and just, antagonizing. And I'm like, at this point, I do everything perfect because I'm tired of getting beat on. I'm tired of getting yelled at. I'm tired of being on punishment. So I'm like, are you serious? Like, so I just lashed out at her because at this point, I'm not afraid of her anymore because you've done everything to me. So it's like, whatever. You can only do what you already do, if you're not going to kill me. and she would actually say stuff like, if I can kill you and bury you in the backyard and get away with it, I would, and I'd just be like, so one day I asked her after she told me some shit like that, I was like, so what's your problem? Like, who did something? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, somebody did something to you and it's not me. What the fuck is wrong with you? I literally asked her just like that. And she was like, my brother raped me. She responded just like that. And I looked at her for like 3 minutes. It felt like 3 minutes, and I'm like, which one? And the reason why I asked her this, because like, she's that one that can cook real well. So she got 14 brothers, siblings. Only one is a girl and the rest are boys. So I'm like, and they all over here for Thanksgiving. A few, one of them are dead. So it's like, okay, which one? Because I know all of them. And it's like, you got me with my kid, at this time, me and my cousins around these motherfuckers. Which one? I'm not telling you that. So I'm like, but this is what you're blaming on why so you're responding to me like, basically telling me I treat you like this because I've been raped. Bitch, that ain't good enough for me. Now I'm rebelling.
No. Yeah, that's not good enough.
And at that point I start rebelling a little bit, talking back and telling her no, like, when she'd be like, you need to clean up, do stuff that I've already done. I'd be like, no, I already did it. I just did it at 2:00. Like, it got old. I'm not afraid of you no more. Like, you have tortured me from 5 to like from when I can remember to
I was 15 when I finally got the nerve to push her back. I grabbed her by her neck, and I was 5'10", she's 5'3". I grabbed her by the neck and I was like, keep your effing hands off of me.
Okay.
I'm tired of it. I was on that plane so fast. She put me on the plane to my dad. I hadn't seen him in 5 years. I hadn't even talked to him. She called him while I was in the air and said, get your daughter at the airport. She gave me the phone number to my grandma and was like, if he don't pick you up from the airport, here's your grandma's number. I'm like, Pittsburgh is all the way on the other side of the state of Pennsylvania. You're sending me to Philly. We'll call your uncle. He's in Philly. She put me on a plane because I think she was really afraid for her life at that point. Like, this big girl done got some balls. But I was tired. At what point are we supposed to just be like,
yeah,
that's enough. That's enough. That's it.
And with me, it was like I was like the only kid being kind of treated that bad. Like, okay, she whooped us all. She did it, but I was the last one in the house.
More than that. It was more than that. And what's sad is that you'll never really know. What was it really? Because it wasn't that. It couldn't have been that. It has to be more than that.
Well, I wonder. I mean, I maybe that did happen to her, but it's like it's more than that. I think it's more, like you said, it's because she didn't feel wanted by men because like she was the baby mama. She had 3 different baby daddies, but with my dad, he actually married her. So I'm like, I'm the kid that was actually, we all, out of all your 3 baby daddies, my dad actually married you, and I get treated the worst, and I'm not even the bastard kid. Where versus my brother's dad was like, that ain't my son. And my sister's dad was a crack.
Maybe that's why did he divorce her, or was it the other way around?
I think she divorced him because of alcoholism, because he was a vet, so she tried to say alcoholism and he was a cheater because he was a fine ass nigga. So I can see, and I have a brother that is only like a couple months older than me. So clearly he cheated, but it's like, so she divorced him and I think she gave up on life after that. Like not feeling wanted, and 3 different baby daddies, and now I got this other kid, and the other ones are so much older, they already can babysit themselves, and now I got her, that type of energy. Yeah. And I received that my whole life, so, but it was like you said, it was jealousy involved too, so it was kind of weird because I don't know what she was jealous of.
It's like, what are you jealous about? She made you, like, you came from her, so she should be happy, that I got this beautiful daughter that's talented. Like, I helped make that, I contributed to that. But for them, it's like the other way around. Like with my mom, it's like, my mom, I grew up in a black house, and I tell people that all the time. Like, they look at me and they go, well, what do you know? I don't know anything about being white. Even though my birth mom is white, I know nothing about being white. Like, when I met my siblings, they were like, you grew up in a black house? Black mom, black dad. She was dark. She was dark skinned. My dad was like, "What did you expect for her to look like?" I told you, like, she was mad that I was light. She was mad about that. And it's like, you willingly took a mixed baby. Why couldn't you wait for the next baby to see if there was, a full black baby coming? You
So she
you
had colorism issues.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's yeah.
See,
And
my
then you have
dad didn't, because his dad looks like me and his mom is dark skinned and my dad is like light brown. So for him it was like, well, she looks like my side of the family. And I think that she always had a little bit of jealousy with that, because when I was with his side, nobody knew I was adopted. But when I was with her side, they were just kind of like, did you marry a white man? Like, why does your kid look like that? She couldn't hide it. And I think she felt inadequate as a woman because she's got 9 brothers and sisters. Her sister's got 6 kids, 5 kids, 4 kids, and she had none. And she did things to herself, that made herself incapable of having a baby. And that was on her. That was a choice she made. That's not my fault. When my aunt told me that, I was like, that was her fault. That's not my fault. Like, you made these decisions. You chose to have us. You chose to have us to mistreat us, or you chose to bring me into your house, and you thought that it was gonna keep a man.
yes.
That doesn't.
And that's why I feel like we're all here. Like my mom, okay, my brother, he was a teenage kid. Like she had him at 17. But I think, it was the same thing. My brother's dad was the popular kid that she was fresh from Mississippi, had just moved to California. She wanted to, find it herself, so and he dissed her. He's like, that ain't my kid. But he had sex with her in the back of a car at a house party. That was the 70s, so 60s, late 60s, early 70s. My brother's like 54, so
Wild
that was
time.
what they did.
Wild
Yeah,
time.
yeah, and so with my sister's dad, like my sister is her golden child. That's the one she sent to college to Grambling State, and she became a accountant and this. But she's the one that has full blown lupus, has had a transplant. I mean, don't have no hair. Like she looks like like somebody poured acid on her skin. Like she's inflamed all the time, and because she's still hiding the shit. She still doesn't,
The
speak her
more you
truth.
hide it, the sicker you look. The more you hide it, the sicker you look. And I tell people that all the time. And you can see right through. Like, a lot of people try to hide their trauma, but you can't hide it that well, because it comes out on you physically. Like, if you look at TikToks of me back when I first started, I was rough looking. I was bald headed, my eyes were sunk in the back of my head. Like, I was rough looking, because I didn't know that there was a problem. I didn't know that I needed to heal at that point. But then I went through this domestic violence situation, and I was like, you know what? This is too much for me to carry on my own. And that's when I started my therapy. And I went from like this person that was like angry at the entire world to the person that I am now. And the person is like telling people, your life is not going to get better if you keep blaming other people. Look at yourself and look what you can fix within you, and then other things will fall into place. We're taught not to ask for help. We're taught not to seek help. People will suffer in silence. And that's why I started my resource thing, because it's like, you're not the only one suffering if you're a mother. Your child is suffering too. But you can't be sitting up in the house with no food.
Yeah.
You can't be sitting up in the house. You can't be sitting up in the house with a big abscess in your mouth.
Right.
That can rupture and you can die.
Yes.
Then what happens to your kids?
Yes.
And
so with that being said, I do, okay, because this interview, we're getting deep. and we've been talking for an hour. And I don't want people to get we don't because I'm not getting lost, but I don't want the viewers to get lost. But will you come back and have another show with me and give some? Because I have a charity for single parents, and that's why for what you said. If we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of kids. And I've been doing like collecting toiletries and donations and clothes and this, but I think the information is important too. And I don't have the time because I'm a single parent and I have all these projects and I homeschool to look up all that information that you like. When you say stuff, I'll be writing it down in my organizer, but it's like so I would like to have you back again if you would love to come back to talk about all those resources, because that stuff is great. And I
will definitely come back. I will definitely come back for resources.
That's how you reel me in. But then the second thing I said, oh, this is my sister for real. Because then when you start talking about your trauma, I said, okay, that's my sis right there. So I can relate to you on so many areas because I can see that because of your trauma, you've become a helper, you become a giver. And, when we're younger, we overcompensated people, but now we use it differently. And so I can see you're at that point, and that's where I'm at too. So, I'm happy that I have ran across you on my FYP. And so you're in Atlanta now? Yeah, no, and thanks for coming on and being so transparent, even on TikTok, because it helps us. Like even though like I'm trying to help people heal, your healing is a workout.
I'm gonna send you that thread if you haven't seen it, and I want you to read down. I want you to read down that thread. You're gonna be like, oh my! You're probably gonna find 3,000 people to interview too. Like some of those stories, I'm like, what the hell? Whose mother does that? Like, but it's real. There's no reason to lie. These people are. No.
That's the thing. Like, people don't think that people are lying. That bothers me because that's exactly why there's so many people still sick or going through it, are mentally ill or physically ill because they're internalizing it because they don't want to be ostracized or villainized or called a liar. But this shit is real.
There's people that I have had send me 10-page messages on TikTok, and I read every bit, and they'll be like, "Don't tell nobody." And in my mind, I'm like, I'll probably forget the story within 2 weeks, and you have to refresh my memory because I get so many of them. But it's like you need to be able to let that out, and you need to be able to let it out to somebody that I could have I've had people in my home. I've rescued girls out the bushes. I've gone and taken girls who CPS is coming after them, trying to take their baby. Like, I've gone up to the hospital like, no, this is not happening. This is not happening. Let's go. We're leaving. Like I've done I could have messy talk, but I don't want that to be my platform. I want my platform to be like, I can trust her, that she's not going to air my dirty laundry out onto the street.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what we need. And, I think like, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but I feel like we need a hood trauma coach and spiritual healing, like an environment for us, because like there's people that go and it's like kumbaya and it's like nobody you can relate to, and you're just like, this ain't this, and they never go.
I didn't go to no kumbaya.
Yeah, we need that.
I couldn't do it. That's not how I wouldn't have been able to process it that way. Like, I have to have it straight. Like, I have to hear it. If your mother said the cuss words, I want to hear the cuss words that she said. So I know that I'm not crazy for my mother talking to me the same way. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. If you and when you take a 15-minute break, if you need to go hit your joint because it's too much for you, we're not going to judge in here smelling like weed. Right. This is that. You know what I'm saying? Because we working in progress right now. So you know what I'm saying? Like those places, because if you know what I mean. It's just like we need our space.
I definitely do.
A space for us because we're different. We're different, and they made it this way.
Hood healing 101.
Yes.
Let's go. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. I've started so many projects in life, and what I've learned is you need help to do anything. And so, like, I've been looking for people, whether, we network from thousands of miles away. I believe if it's supposed to happen, we are going to come closer together and make it happen. And so, like, I'm just loving to meet people like you, because I know if God gives me the resources to do what I'm trying to do, I want to know people like you, so I can be like, would you like to help me or be a part of, So I get excited when I meet people that I don't have to explain shit to. They already know. Like, you're one of them people. So, you know what I'm saying? Like what my movement would be. I wouldn't have to explain much. I see your compassion. And it's just like, I just love to know there's other people like me. Just in case I don't get to do it, someone else is doing it, So it's a pleasure to meet you. And we're going to come back. Well, we talk. And don't forget to send me that thread that you have.
I am going to see, as soon as I get off of here, I'll do it so I don't forget.
Okay, and if I can and put some of that in here, I will, like, as some overlays and stuff so others can read it too, because now they're probably going to be interested. But if you want to give them your hashtag on here for TikTok, if you like, you can.
Definitely.
I don't know.
Definitely,
okay.
You can put it up.
Okay, I will copy it down, and her hashtag will be in the comments somewhere. You guys will be able to find it where you can find her, because you would like to get to her. She's very resourceful, and she's very compassionate and transparent about what she does. And you'll. I like to think you're like maybe like a Heyoka empath. I don't know if you know what that means, but it's like one of those people. Everybody feels comfortable talking to, because you're so transparent. I'm one of them people, and so I love to meet people like you too. And so again, thank you. You let me know. We'll be inboxing, but you let me know when's a good time to come back.
Right.
And you guys show some great resources. She got some lists for y'all that you guys, when she comes back, be prepared with your pen and paper, because she's gonna give y'all some information that you can
She knows how I am about my pen. Everybody has to have pen and paper with me, because But you can visit sistertiff.com, and there's lists there, too, like already posted. I am working on more lists. I have tons of lists that I have to get up. But this year I am doing it, that I'm dedicating this year to getting up medical lists and all that other kind of stuff. So
you guys heard her, sistertiff.com, and she lists a lot of these resources there, just in case they didn't hear you. Sistertiff.com.
Sister Tiff, SISTATIPH.com.
There you go. I'm gonna be on there now too.
All right.
And we'll see you soon. And when we said, y'all come back with y'all pen and paper, because she got some information that you guys probably wouldn't even know existed. Stuff that you guys you're sitting here worried about, how much you gonna pay, how you gonna pay for it. And she got the list where shit is free. So you guys want to stay tuned. I'll let you guys know when she'll be back after we plan a date. I'll keep you guys posted so that you guys can be here with us. Maybe if you want to be live and you have questions, maybe we'll do that show live if you're okay with that. And so that way people. Okay, so we'll make sure we're ready and they're ready. And again, I thank you so much for joining me today. And it was nice to meet you virtually. And maybe hopefully one day we can meet in person.
For sure, definitely.
Yes, I'm a visionary, and I see healing retreats. I see conferences. I see all kinds of stuff in the near future. So yeah, hopefully I can network with you.
That would be amazing.
Yes. It's time to do God's work for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes. So you have a great night. And for the rest of you, thanks for watching and joining us on the D for the Week show. Again, if you'd like to be a guest, comment below. If you have any questions, she'll be able to see them, because I'll be sending her the link. You can comment below. And you guys, thanks again for joining us. And thank you, Sister Tiff, for joining us. It was great having you tonight. You have a great night, okay?
All right.
And I'll be talking to you soon.
All right.
Okay.